I want to tell you about Knowlli. Knowlli is a bot and loves to be your friend. Take Knowlli with you wherever you go because Knowlli loves to travel, see new places and meet new people. Take a picture with Knowlli or send Knowlli to your friends anywhere in the world and get them to post pictures with Knowlli. We can follow Knowlli's adventures online on Facebook and Instagram. Remember, when you post your adventures with Knowlli, use the hashtag Knowlli to help other children learn about the world.
Good evening, everybody. I am so happy and glad to be here today. And today is a great session for Knowlli because last week Knowlli बहुत अलग-अलग जगह पे गया है, and that I think is a phenomenal, experience. Let me show you very quickly. Some photographs from Kerala. So if you really want to see photographs from Kerala, then let us know in the chat box and we'll be very happy. I want to know quickly, यहाँ पे, how many students are there and how many of you like motorbiking? I'm putting up a question. Do you like motorbiking? And I'm putting up that question here. Do yes, say no. Say I don't know, I do not know yet. Okay, check your screens and you should see a wonderful tag, poll. Yes, so we have a couple of people who are saying yes, we have a couple of people who are saying no, and we are looking at a few people, about 25% who says I don't know yet. हाँ, because आप students हो, शायद आपके पास motorbikes नहीं है, शायद आपके पास cycles नहीं है, and maybe you've just not experienced it. But we have an overwhelming 72% of people in the room who are saying that they love motorbiking, and I think that can be a very wonderful, happy, fulfilling, meaningful, purposeful hobby to pursue. आप बहुत कुछ सीख सकते हो, इस दुनिया को अलग तरीके से एक्सपीरियंस कर सकते हो. So we thought that we should have a little we should have a theme for Knowlli today. Today's theme is motorbiking, but in motorbiking we're talking about off-roading क्योंकि Knowlli off-roading session करने गया था. And next week we are going to be doing another session again related to biking, but that is going to be racing biking. Okay, and so these are the two sessions that we are having today. So are you excited? If you're excited, type excited in the comment box and we will be very thrilled to see your feedback coming through. Thank you. So what I wanted to share with you now
So first things first is your handlebar position. Right? In general, you want your handlebar to be
एक मूवी देखा था, and in that movie he saw about dirt biking and off-roading, and from that time he got inspired, and in 5 years Ashish Ravanane was able to win several rallies and also become India's first private entrant to the Dakar rally. और ये Dakar rally is one of the world's best rallies. It is a non-televised rally. वो टीवी पे आपको दिखता नहीं है, but it's a test of endurance. I think it's maybe 5,000 kilometers across several countries. And I'll also ask our special guest to talk a little more about Dakar Rally. We can even look online and see what Dakar Rally is. But this is Ashish Rao Rane. I want to tell you, in the past 3 days, I met 2 champions, or maybe 3 champions. And the mark of a champion is humility. इतने humble होते हैं ये champions. इतने सॉफ्ट स्पोकन होते हैं, इतने एम्पैथेटिक होते हैं, इतने ऑनेस्ट होते हैं, इतना इंटेग्रिटी है इनमें, इतना प्योरिटी है इनमें, इतना पैशन है इनमें. एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी शुड लर्न. ये
got mud inside the tires now, and it's like a slick tire that we use on track. There's absolutely no traction from the tire anymore. Okay? The way tires work, that is why the off-road tires are open, right? Very aggressive, mildly aggressive. But it's not just enough to have these tires.
आप देख सकते हो कि so you're able to see that, and these are drills, right? Drills का मतलब क्या है? ड्रिल्स का मतलब ये है कि जब भी एक इंस्ट्रक्टर आपको ट्रेन करता है और एक इंस्ट्रक्टर आपको कुछ सिखाता है, तो टाइनी पैचेस में आपको पूरा एक साथ नहीं सिखाता. इट इज़ ऑलवेज एक छोटा सा. जब भी आप राइडिंग सीख रहे हैं तो यू लर्न स्टैंडिंग लाइन, स्लीपिंग लाइन, कम डाउन, अक्रॉस, स्विंग बैक, स्विंग लेफ्ट, गो अराउंड. And that's how you teach skills. So here you are able to see कि this was one drill. ऐसे हमने 10 drill किया था, अलग अलग drills, and the trainer is watching each and every one of us and giving us instructions. बेटा तू ऐसा सही नहीं कर रहा है, बेटा तू ये कर, तुम्हारा feet position यहाँ होना चाहिए, तुम्हारा eye position यहाँ होना चाहिए, तुम्हारा body position ऐसा होना चाहिए, तुम्हें डर नहीं. And this is how we start seeing कि true learning happens. देखो ये सब skills है, और skills में हमें mastery develop करना है. And the way we can develop mastery is to practice and through input. So that is something that I wanted to share with you. This is again one of the rally racers that was there. And this is a one-hand drill. One-hand drill is basically where you are trying to stand on the bike and maneuver the bike only with one hand. And that will allow you to feel the bike more with your thighs. ताकि आप अपने hips और thighs के साथ आप bike को का direction change कर सकते हो. And there were some situations where the bike was jumping and we got some air. So these are some of those scenarios, and Knowlli as usual is enjoying and having an absolute great time. So this students is what we wanted to talk to you about today. More about off-roading. Would you want your special guest to come up? Do let us know in the chat box. Go ahead and type yes in the chat box, and we will have our special guest come up with you right now. He's in the studio. So go ahead and type yes in the chat box, and we will be happy to bring him on right away. So our special guest has been, thank you Parinita, Ishan, and Ankita, and Maitri. Our special guest, some of you have already met him before. He has been an active, avid biker for many years, more than 10-15 years. And he is a person जो मैं बहुत respect करता हूँ, इनका knowledge को, इनका passion को और इनका skills को मैं बहुत respect करता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं हमेशा देखता हूँ कि वो अपना knowledge, skills और passion को बढ़ाते जाता है, improve करते जाता है. And one of the biggest things that I feel about him is वो अपना knowledge को share करता है. And I think that is more important. This world requires more people who share their knowledge. And I would like to introduce you to Troy. Let's go and welcome Troy. Hi, Troy.
Good evening. Thank you for having me again.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
We are so happy that you were able to come in today and talk to all our students. And we have so many people here. Troy, would you like to tell us a little about the group that you run, Burn? Where it is and why did you start that group, and anything that you want our students to this thing. You can speak in Hindi, Marathi, English. You can do all combinations.
Okay. So first of all, very good evening, everyone. Thank you, Knowlli, for having me here and giving me the opportunity to share some of my knowledge about motorcycling. We started Burn about say a little over 10 years ago to promote safer motorcycling on our streets in India, because like we've said many times before, our roads are very dangerous in terms of accidents, and we rank very high in the world. And we have to, it is high time to take precautions, and people need to come forward and promote this cause and make our roads safer. So we need to start at the grassroots level, like we've always said. We need to educate people and young children at the grassroots level about motorcycling, about how to use the road, the rules of the road, and overall, make our streets safer. So Burn was an attempt to make people aware about motorcycling and to promote this beautiful passion, sport, and culture amongst the youth of our country. So that was this Burn story in a nutshell.
Thank you, Troy. That is really amazing. Would you like to share a little more about where is Burn located? How many members do you have? Can people become part of Burn, and then maybe we can get into off-roading after that?
We were primarily based in and around Mumbai, in this beautiful coastal town called Vasai. That is where our roots originated. And then we were spread all across. We've got members from all over the world today who are participating in online, if not with us. We have members from all walks of life. One of the best parts about Burn is that anybody is welcome to join. Unlike a lot of some of the groups that only had super bikers, we were open to everybody. We've had people with Activas. We even had people who don't have motorcycles but are keen on wanting to learn and know about motorcycles join us and be a part of the group.
Thank you, Troy. Would you like to share a little more about off-roading, specifically since today's show is about off-roading? ये off-roading क्या है? And what are the bikes available for off-roading today? Rough prices about it, and if you want, I can even show them some photographs online about off-roading bikes.
So off-roading is a very important genre of motorcycling. It falls in the adventure category. It's a very fun genre of motorcycling. Even the riders, a lot of the professional MotoGP riders who ride on the track in a controlled environment, when they are not racing, they practice and they hone their skills during off-road training. And off-roading is where the whole idea of sliding your bike originated, locking the rear wheel and sliding the bike. It's a great test of endurance because off-roading needs a lot of skills. There are specific bikes made for off-roading. And again, the advantage of training and being good at off-roading is that in real life situations, not all roads are perfect. So where the road ends, where there is gravel, there are potholes, there are bumps. Being trained to ride an off-road motorcycle or being trained in off-roading helps you overcome that obstacle. It's a very good lesson for life as well. So training at off-roading is wonderful. There are specific bikes. It's a separate genre of motorcycling. There is specific gear. There's a way, and then there's a particular motorcycle which are called off-road adventure bikes. Again, that falls into a few more categories where there are supermotos, there are hypermotards, supermotards. There are adventure bikes. Today we'll talk about a little bit about adventure bikes. You start right from, let's say, entry-level bikes like the Hero Impulse, which is
It's on their screen right now. Yeah.
which is a wonderful bike. It's priced at a very competitive price. It's a great bike to enter into off-roading. You move on slightly higher to the Ktm Adventure 390, which is available. You have in that price, these are all priced under the 4 lakh rupee bracket. You've got the KTM Adventure, you've got the BMW GS 310, which is a smaller version of their the very popular BMW GS 1200. Then you move on into the 600, 650, 700cc categories. You have the Suzuki Sv 650 or the Storm, which will be on your screen shortly. So the Suzuki Storm is again a very capable bike in the below the 10 lakh rupee segment. Of course, below that you've got bikes like the Royal Enfield Himalayan and some of these other bikes as well, which we cannot forget. The Himalayan is again a very wonderful offering from Royal Enfield, and a lot of people ride these bikes today to travel across country or to Ladakh and places such. As you move higher, you come to again the top of the line motorcycles in off-roading like the BMW GS 1200 and 1250, which will be on your screen shortly. So these are very capable machines. As they say, if you want to travel from one country to another, you buy a bike like the GS. You have the Honda Africa Twin, of course, which is a very capable machine. You have the Ducati Multistrada. This is the Ducati Multistrada again. So again, these are very, very capable machines that are designed to travel across any kind of terrain. They come with special wheels, special electronics, a very high windscreen, as you can see. They come across various riding modes. They have electronics which enable you to get optimum performance on gravel where the tire is constantly slipping. These bikes have special tires. As you can see, these are called button tires. These tires function well in gravel. They offer you good grip when you're off-road. Again, the suspension on these bikes is next level. You have a lot of travel to enable better absorption of bumps. You'll notice that again, as you can see, the suspension is very different to what you see on other motorcycles. These enable you to sort of offer better stability in off-road situations. You'll see these bikes also have spoked wheels, unlike the alloy wheels that you see these days. So these are stronger because they have to absorb the impact of bumps and potholes and stones and such. These bikes are taller, as you can see, to give better ground clearance. They have certain protective gear. The guards on these bikes is different. You have bash plates which protect the bottom of your engine. You have certain guards on the side. You've got a higher windscreen. The fuel capacity is more on these bikes. They have panniers, which are storage spaces that are necessary to carry all your luggage and such. So these bikes are designed for a very specific purpose called adventure biking, which enables you to travel across the world, so to say. If you notice, even the riding gear for these bikes is very different. The helmets are different. These are called motocross or adventure helmets for a lot of visibility, and they're designed differently. Even the protection when you're riding off-road, the riding gear is very different to what you would see on a street or a sport. The boots are bigger. They are all weatherproof because you never know, you have to cross a stream or you're riding in the sand. So the gear is designed in a particular way. Most of the gear is external as opposed to internal on sports bikes. So like an exoskeleton. So you wear it on top, so it is easily removable. Unlike a track situation where you're riding in a controlled environment. So these are the basics of adventure and dirt biking in a nutshell.
Great. So, do you want to tell a little bit about the track? Like, what kind of tracks are there? And, in Nalasopara Vasai Virar, is there any place where we can think of doing a little bit of off-roading and things like that?
So it's called a dirt track or a flat track. These are tracks that are designed with a specific purpose in mind. There's no tarmac. It's all dirt and obstacles. You've got a very different setup on these. In and around Nalasopara, we don't have a track as of yet, but there are a lot of open spaces that people go to enjoy the sport. We have beaches, we have mountains, we've got flat plains at Sun City, which is a wonderful spot where some of us go to hone our skills. So these are some of the fun places in and around Vasai and Virar that we are blessed with to naturally go and sort of have a blast on these motorcycles.
If there's one piece of advice you want to give our students, would it be get a bike, get a bigger bike, no safety gear, or get a slightly smaller bike and get safety gear? What do you feel is important, and what is the order of preference for safety gear? If you can tell them, because it's very important that we want to make sure that our children understand the right mindset of riding.
Right.
Because tracks are for racing, roads are for riding.
Correct.
And how do we get them into the right mindset? Because many of our children are going to be bikers. They're going to be riding, and bikes are getting cheaper, and more models are being available, and people are going to get into this sport, and accidents happen and people die. So we want to make sure that we are helping all of you get into the right mindset. Can you also talk about the mindset of a rider? And you can take the question however you want to answer this.
So we've always maintained safety first and ATGATT, which is all the gear all the time. I'm saying this again. You can never compromise on your riding gear. In fact, we advise people to buy their riding gear before even buying the motorcycle. You can buy a smaller bike. There is more fun riding a small bike faster than riding a big bike slow, as we say. So gear is very important. You cannot compromise on your life and somebody else's life. You always buy good quality gear. You start with the basics, which is a helmet, which you should wear at all times, whether you're riding for passion, for sport, or on the street. You could be commuting to work, and you never know when an accident can happen. An accident is an uncalled for situation, and it is very important to wear at least a helmet at all times when you're riding in the city.
The types of helmets.
Yeah, there are certain types of helmets that you need to know of. There are full face helmets, there are half face helmets, there are modular and off-road helmets. So these are some of the helmets, but we recommend you to always wear a good helmet at all times, because you never know when it can protect your head and save you from an operation. Moving on, there's riding gloves that we wear at all times. These are gloves.
Why do you wear gloves?
So in the event of a fall, your palms end up taking a lot of hit from the road, from the stone. So what these gloves do is they protect your palms, your knuckles, and your wrists from breaking. So it is very important to wear a good pair of gloves as well when you ride. Further down, you have a riding jacket that we wear, which is again a very, very important tool. So these are some of the examples of a decent textile riding jacket, which are well ventilated and stuff like that. And riding gear can last you anywhere from 3 to 5 years, depending on how you look after it. So it's a good investment overall. It will protect your shoulders, your elbows, your chest. Something comes flying on a road, it just hits you. and you never realize how vulnerable you are until it happens and it's too late. So we always advise people to invest in good gear. You also have a back protector on the riding gear. In the event of a fall on your back, it will absorb the impact. You have riding pants as well that people wear. We'll just put it up on the screen for you shortly. Right. So these are your a few pictures of riding pants that we wear when we are riding. Once again, these protect your knees, your calves, and your skin overall, because your denim will just shred once it scrapes against the tarmac. So riding pants again are essentially very important. And finally, moving down, we have riding boots that are an extremely important aspect of motorcycle safety gear. So these will protect your ankles in the event of a crash, because you'll be surprised how easily your ankles can break once you fall off a motorcycle. So your wrists, your ankles, your collarbones, these are places which are very exposed in the event of even a small crash.
Can somebody क्या किसी का ankle टूट सकता है just bike अगर गिर गया उसके ऊपर या something?
Definitely, we've seen people just fall off. Their leg gets caught in the wheel. The leg gets caught between the divider and the road and the motorcycle, and your ankle can very quickly snap off. So we always recommend, even if you're riding in the city, wear a pair of riding boots. You get ankle length boot. These are full race boots. Gloves and a helmet at least if you're riding. You may be riding a scooty, at least wear a helmet. You never know when it can protect you in the event of a crash. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that you make sure to wear your gear all the time. Safety first, and your life is priceless.
Anything about eye movements? Would you like to share anything about जब especially I wanted to share कि especially अभी ये कोविड के situation में ऐसा हुआ था कि people the local trains were not available, local transport was not available, and many offices were telling people अगर तुमको office आना है तो तुम अपने आप आओ. So people were forced to come by bikes. We know from Nalaswasai Virar there are maybe 1,000 riders or maybe more who have to ride every day towards the city to get to their office, and many accidents have happened. I know personally in our church that somebody fell down and the exhaust came on his leg and he had to burn he burnt his legs and stuff like that, and no one's wearing this kind of safety gear. Would you like to share a little bit about जब भी आप biking करते हो हाईवे पे या रोड पे आपका नज़र कहाँ होना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए या क्या नहीं करना चाहिए?
So this is an extremely important point that you highlighted, and as we had said before, that during the lockdown, people were just locked up and they couldn't go out anywhere. And once things would open up, we would see an increase in accidents, is what we had predicted. And a lot of people were called to go to work, and suddenly they were put in a situation where maybe from trains they were put on the highways and they had to ride to work, and they were again exposed to highway traffic where perhaps they were not trained to tackle a huge truck passing by or high speeds, and that made them very vulnerable. So eyesight is an extremely important factor when you're riding. You need to scan for hazards or hazard perception. You need to know what are your hazards. Your eyes should always be on the road. You should be looking for signs that say slow down, there's a bridge ahead, or speed limits. You have to always keep on a left if you're riding slow, so that you're giving space for other vehicles to pass. And your bike needs to be in condition to ride on the highway. You may have been using your Activa in the city, but you've never paid attention and it was a little forgiving. But on the highway, the chances, it's different. You're doing higher speeds in a very different environment. So your eyes need to be on the road. You need to scan for hazards all the time. You need to look at your mirrors all the time, every 5 seconds, because a vehicle could be approaching at high speed from behind. And you need to prepare accordingly.
Thank you. Would you like to share some? We have Amol who's asking, what about the BMW GSA 1250R? Yes, that is also a very strong, powerful, top-of-the-line vehicle, and you should definitely take a look, about that bike. I want to talk a little bit more about feet position. जब भी हम off-roading करते हैं या normally गाड़ी भी चलाते हैं, riding करते हैं, तो हमारा foot कहाँ पे होना चाहिए? I really wish I could give you a demo, but it's a little difficult to give a demo. Where should your foot be if let's say if this is your foot peg, अगर ये आपका foot peg है and अगर ये आपका brake है, right? Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say this is your brake. Okay. Now students, just ये जो है मेरे पास, ये मेरा brake है और ये foot peg है. where should the person's foot be? Would you like to share anything about that?
So foot positioning is extremely important when you're riding. The ball of your foot needs to be on your foot pegs at all times unless you are braking, because what can happen is if the front of your foot is on the brake lever and you hit a bump and you accidentally end up pressing the lever, you will end up in an accident. So unless you are braking, your feet need to be on the pegs, very firmly planted. When you want to sort of brake or shift a gear down, your foot can move forward and do the necessary input on the motorcycle. So as you can see on this screen,
Yeah.
right,
Where would you?
you can open the first
This one?
image. Yeah. So what a lot of people end up doing is their foot is on the lever at all times, and that can result in an accident in an
तो ये
untold
गलती है
situation.
ना? This is not the right.
This is not recommended at all.
क्योंकि अगर रोड खराब है
Correct.
या ऐसा कुछ, if you get into a bump, then the chances of this part of your foot falling on your brake is high.
Correct.
And आपका गाड़ी तुरंत रुक जाएगा, धक्का मार के आप शायद गिर जाओगे.
Exactly.
So that is the wrong foot position. We should find out what is the right foot position. I don't know if if the right foot position is available somewhere. Is this the right foot position?
No, that one.
That is also not the right foot position. This one? No.
So maybe you can bring this image.
Okay. So let's see if
Right.
you are able to get the right example. देखो बच्चे हैं, आप अपने पेरेंट्स को भी आप बता सकते हो, and you can, these are all things that training. You see, आप स्कूल में जाते हो,
Right.
एंड जब भी आप स्कूल जाते हो आपको बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है, लेकिन मोटरसाइकिलिंग कौन सिखाए आपको? गाड़ी चलाना कौन सिखाए आपको? कार चलाने के लिए कौन सिखाए आपको? So many at times it becomes like your friend or elder brother, somebody had taught you, and who taught him? Somebody else had taught him. तो professionally हम ये सब नहीं सीखते हैं, and because of this many of the knowledge is slightly imperfect and it might cause more accidents. So foot position, sir, would you like to say something about foot position? Yes.
So as you can see, this rider has his toes below the shifter. It's just when he wants to shift up, his foot will move forward and shift up or down depending on the motorcycle he's riding. Similarly, on the other side, his foot will be away from the brake lever unless he wants to use the brake as needed. Because in the event of if you just randomly hit a pothole, your foot can compress the brake, which can result in your wheel locking and you sliding and falling down as well.
What about brake?
Again, when it comes to braking, your front brake, 2 of your fingers or 3 of your fingers, depending on what works with you, have to always be on the lever, because front brakes are a very important factor when it comes to these motorcycles. They handle almost 80 to 90% of your braking. So 2 fingers on the front brake at all times is what we suggest. So yeah, that should take care of your braking issues.
Brilliant. So we are so happy that Troy was able to come. If you have any questions, please shoot it on the chat, and Troy will be able to happy to take all these questions. Please children, आप अगर 18 साल से कम हो तो बाइक्स नहीं चलाना चाहिए. The legal age in India for riding bikes is 18 and above, but you can start practicing on cycles. Cycles से आपका बैलेंस, आपका एजिलिटी, आपका स्किल्स, आपका माइंडसेट, ऑल दैट कैन स्टार्ट डेवलपिंग यूजिंग साइकिल्स. तो प्लीज़ साइकिल से आप चालू कीजिए, लेकिन आप साइकिल चलाओगे तो भी गियर यूज़ कीजिए. साइकिलिंग हेलमेट्स आता है, साइकिलिंग ग्लव्स आता है. देखो, अगर आपके पास राइट गियर नहीं है तो अगर आप गिरोगे और आपको अगर लग जाएगा तो आपका कॉन्फिडेंस वीक हो जाएगा, लाइफ लॉन्ग के लिए स्कारिंग हो सकता है. So we want to ensure that all of us can enjoy this beautiful sport and this respected sport. And I also feel like India में ये जो sports है ये काफ़ी underdeveloped है. And as children in schools today, slowly and steadily, if you are able to develop the right mindset, the right skills, the right professional mentors, if you get, आपका एक पैशन हो सकता है. इसके थ्रू आप फिजिक्स सीख सकते हो, आप केमिस्ट्री सीख सकते हो, आप कॉमर्स सीख सकते हो, आप कम्युनिकेशन सीख सकते हो, आप इंटरपर्सनल स्किल्स डेवलप कर सकते हो, आप दुनिया के बारे में सीख सकते हो, आप अलग अलग रैलीज़ के बारे में जब भी आप सीखोगे तो अलग अलग कल्चर्स के बारे में आप सीख सकते हो. दिस कैन रियली टीच यू अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. यू सी, रेसिंग if you watch MotoGP, if you watch Formula 1 racing, just watching these racing, you as a student, आपको इतना knowledge और insights मिल सकता है कि दुनिया कैसा चलता है, what is performance management, how people, how people work towards winning championships. ये सब अगर आप देखोगे और आप डेवलप करोगे, इनकलकेट करोगे अपने आप में, then you will start noticing that you start becoming a champion. सिर्फ एक दूसरे को चैंपियन बुला के कोई चैंपियन नहीं होता. You have to behave like a champion. You have to learn like a champion first, and that's how you'll be able to build a wonderful experience. So thank you everybody, and I hope that आपको ये session अच्छा लगा. Do let us know in the poll, how did you like this session? How did you like this session? Check your poll now. Very good. Good. Okay. So here is the poll. Please let us know what do you think about our session today. And next week's session is going to be about Knowlli and प्रोफेशनल रेसिंग के बारे में हम नेक्स्ट वीक का सेशन लेंगे. एंड प्लीज़ टेक Knowlli विथ यू. फ़ोटो ले लो, जहाँ कहीं भी हो आप, अलग अलग जगह पे फ़ोटो ले लो, उसके बारे में थोड़ा कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन लिखो, दूसरे बच्चों को आपके बारे में सिखाओ, आपका दुनिया के बारे में सिखाओ. Go to facebook.com/group/Knowlli. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. So we really hope that you had a great time. So we have around 72% of the room who felt that it was a very good session, and 27% of the room who felt like it was a good session. So I really hope that you have learned something new today, and forever you would have, had an impression in your mind when it comes to biking, and some of you may find this as your passion and your profession. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week.
Hi, I want to tell you about Knowlli.